Wow, you guys got quiet before I even got up here. I like that. Okay, welcome to Oral Pres Night. I am Mrs. Stevens, and I am the oral presentation teacher here, as well as the host for this evening. This is my very first year at the Academy, but from what I've heard, Oral Pres Night is a big deal. This is where we see our 8th graders shine in their public speaking skills, inspire them to finish their time in dialectic well, and usher them into their time in rhetoric or high school. I am so excited for you all to see and hear these amazing students. Let's give them a supportive and encouraging round of applause. So, there are 2 parts to this event. The first part will be for more lighthearted speeches from the students. Then there will be a 10-minute intermission, and then we will come back together for the second part of the event, which will have a bit more of a serious tone. Just a few reminders before we begin. Please silence all cell phones, including students. Some of you asked me if you had to turn in your phones, and I said no. And I said, should I trust you? And you said no. So here I am, trusting you. So please turn them off on silent. Also, please keep your mask on while sitting and moving about the space. There are restrooms here to my left. And lastly, feel free to give lots of support and applause after each speaker presents. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Our first speech is a collaborative speech written by a few students as an homage to their time here in dialectic, and specifically their time in 8th grade. Please welcome Noah, Jasmine, Nicola, and Joy.
Hello everyone, this is Jasmine, Nicola, Noah, and Joy. We're here on behalf of the entire 8th grade class to present a special speech we have prepared. This speech is called the ABCs of 8th grade. We went through the entire alphabet and chose a word that starts with that letter that also represented the year in some way. So let's get started.
A is for the awesome year we've had.
B is for Mr. Blankenship and the fun we had in this class.
C is for choir.
D is for Truth or Dare, which we've played at lunch for entertainment.
E is for ethics because we have learned to come together into one family, but not just in 8th grade. We really tried to connect with all classes, even during COVID.
F is for the new friends we made.
G is for groundies, our favorite game.
H is for the house system and the unity we found in it.
I is for the improvement we've made in our studies.
N is for notes. Passing notes has been a little of an inside joke with us all.
K is for the knowledge we've gained.
L is for logic because we've enjoyed learning this subject and a lot of inside jokes have come from it.
M is for math because we have all spent many hours into the night doing homework or studying.
R is for Mr. Rouse, who is a new and brave teacher to jump into teaching kids like us.
O is for opportunity because there have been lots of opportunities for us to learn and grow.
P is for perspective because we've learned that we should always take not just our own but other people's opinions and perspective to make a final decision because everyone is valued.
Q is for Quizlet because we all use Quizlet to study for our tests.
V is for the volleyball games we played this year within our free time.
S stands for Mr. Schulte, who has done so much for us and is an amazing teacher, principal, and mentor.
T is for the teachers in general and how much support and care they've given us over the years.
U is for the uplifting setting that many of our students have tried to convey.
We would like to leave the letter Z open for the next grade to fill in.
W is for the warm welcome that all new students have received.
X is for Xenial, which means being friendly and hospitable to new guests. We've had several new members this year, and that is how we've treated them.
Y is for Mr. Young and all the great times we had in his class playing games and the great job he did at teaching us to connect with our books.
Z is for something that we would like to leave in for the next grade to fill in.
Thank you.
The following group of speeches is inspired by the famous program Shark Tank. These students have invented a product and will present to you, the sharks, for potential investment. The students will present their product, and then after each presentation, there will be 2 minutes for questions from the audience. If you have a question or would maybe like to invest, please raise your hand and I will call on you. Please welcome your Shark Tank speakers. And can I also have my 8th grade boys move the mics up and podium back for me?
What are you doing?
I can't find anything good to watch. I paid so much for this streaming service and can never find anything good to watch. It's so
Has
stupid.
this situation ever happened to you? You can't find anything good to watch?
Well, that's where we come in.
Our company is Optimum.
Optimum is a streaming service that offers live TV, on-demand shows and movies, and so much more for a small price of $59.99.
We also have an Optimum Plus edition. For this, you get commercial-free streaming, NBA League Pass, Stars, Epics, and so much more for a $10 upgrade, making it $69.99.
Optimum Plus also offers something new to our company, Optimum Originals. We've been working over the past year and a half to bring you Basketball, the documentary.
Stephen Curry, the documentary, and so much more.
And about that price, isn't it quite affordable? Even YouTube TV, who offers half what we offer, prices theirs at $65 a month.
And Netflix, a world-renowned streaming service, costs $13.50. If you add these two to make a little close to what we offer, it's $23 more.
Since we started 2.5 years ago, our sales have skyrocketed, finally reaching $2 million in total sales. We're asking for $350,000 and 7% in the company. Obviously, a rather new company can't pay off all the subscriptions you can get with Optimum Plus, so we encourage a rather smart investment. Questions?
Okay, 2 minutes is on the clock. Any questions? Right here. What's the sort of layout of Optimum? Like, is it up like a bunch of apps, or is it just like?
No, well, I guess you can have, it's just a bunch of movies and shows, and if it's like Stars originals or Optimum Plus originals, then you can watch those, or to go to live TV.
Are you planning to add the NFL Sunday package?
We're working on it.
True.
Do you have any patents for this product?
Yeah, we have 5. 5.
Yes. Is it available internationally?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
If I should invest, does it come with a senior remote? And second, do I get the Thunder game?
Yes. And what do you mean by senior remote?
One that is intuitive, that anyone can operate. I want you to help me.
We'll make the letters bigger.
One more last question. Yes, right here. I'm gonna do this. Ooh.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we are right out of time. Let's
Good.
leave our Shark Tank.
You ready?
Yes.
Hello, Sharks. It's good to see you guys. And this is IBW, or Intelligence Boosting Water. Have you ever had to study for a test or get some work done before you head home?
Gosh, I have 5 minutes before this math test. I better drink my IVW.
Nathan, for the last time, what is 6 times 5?
That would be 30. Well, we started this company in 2011 when me and Jack both went in on a Powerball ticket because we didn't have much money at the time. But somehow we won the Powerball and came out with $11 million. We used that $11 million to start our sea exploration. And that is where we found Atlantis. We took water from Atlantis back up to the surface for testing. We realized that this water makes you extra smart for an extended period of time. So we decided we needed to share this invention with the world.
We made the company IBW and quickly partnered with Walmart, Amazon, and Target, and, of course, Disney to get our exclusive flavors, Lightning McQueen and Bambi.
So Sharks, we are asking you 15% for $8 million. I don't think this is a bad investment because according to highly skilled analysis, we are supposed to make $5 million next year.
We have no idea how to run a business, and it would be very helpful for one of you guys to help mentor us. So, offers?
Offers.
What questions?
Is this a scam?
No.
How long will it make me smart for?
8 hours.
What does Mr. Chef think about this?
I don't know.
No, because it only enhances past the first bottle, and it doesn't actually increase your IQ. It just enhances what you already know.
What is 6 times 7?
Isn't this in your
49. No, 45. 42. Dang it. Must do it. You should have took that one. That was you. We had lots of people drink it while we were testing it, and they did okay.
Is this a finite source or is it renewable when you run out of stuff?
It is renewable because it's all the minerals in the ground.
A new undiscovered element. You give me a location. No.
Oh, come on, get out of my game! No! No!
When some nerd camping in a corner decides to make you lose a game, you just want to lose your mind. Now, you can't really throw your controller halfway across the room because, well, it's expensive. So you need something to take your rage on. Now, introducing our brand new product,
Shatterglass. Shatterglass is groundbreaking and is completely revolutionizing the Rage Outlet world.
Now, let's see a situation, but with Shatterglass.
Oh, come on, get out of my game! You're trash! No!
Now, see, Shatterglass It made out of a special coating, a combination of sugar and water and corn syrup. Now, it's completely biodegradable because, well, sugar dissolves in water, and our most product that we take most pride in is that it's made in America.
Now that you know what shattered glass is, you're probably wondering how you know it's safe. Well, the Parental Magazine rated our product number 3 on best to get your kids. Gamer's Choice also rated us number 1 in the newest upcoming Gamer Choice item. And we even won first place in the European Inventor Award.
Now, in the last year, we made around $498,000, $529.29. And we are projected to earn around $600,000 next year. So far, we have made 39% of this. Now, the small one in stores costs around $4. The medium one in stores costs around $8, and the large one costs around $20. Now, we make a usual profit of around $20 of all 3.
So now, you are probably wondering what you'll get if you invest. If you're a company wanting to invest in our company, in our product, we will give you a custom design on the shattered glass. We will also give you a custom color. However, if you're a normal person looking to buy us in the stores, you can get multiple colors, most of them on the rainbow. Now, if you really want to find us, you can find us in stores such as Walmart, Target, and most gas stations. If you want to find us online, just enter in shatter.com and enter the code SHATTER for 20% off.
Now, sharks. Right now, we're asking for $600,000 for 15% of our company. We need the $600,000 so we can expand outwards into more countries, right? Because right now, we are only available in America. Any questions?
All right. Time's on the clock. Questions? In the back.
What concerns do you all have about the wider societal implications of encouraging people to take their rage out?
Well, this isn't just for gamers. It can be used on literally any sort of rage you need to take out on. So if you are struggling with math or any other subject, this is really good for that.
Right here.
Can it hurt you? Like if it breaks, and can it cut you from blood?
Good question.
No, because it's sugar and it's flexible. Even though it breaks, it's still flexible. You can bend it around.
It's not like legit glass, so it won't cut you. It's dull. It's much safer.
Great. Right in the back here.
Yes, I love sugar and corn syrup. Is it edible?
Yes, it's like candy.
Right here.
Why should we buy your product instead of making it at home?
Ours is locally sourced and it's completely organic.
Right here.
Can you taste test it for us?
Great. Another question. I see Louie in the back. Okay, we have a question right in the back there.
Is it reusable?
The shards are.
I think this is our last question right over here.
Can you develop a low-carb version?
Yeah, we could, but right now there aren't very many calories in it. There's only 10 calories per small, and so I don't really think you need a low-calorie version.
As a follow-up question, are you concerned that the sugar rush will perpetuate the rage cycle?
Sir, I honestly think that's better for our business.
Those are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe better than the first time they ever did it. Okay, the following students will be accepting an award of their choosing. I will announce each award and the winner as each student is coming to the stage. Let's give them a round of applause. So, the first award is a Grammy Award for Album of the Year, and this award goes to Isaac Hensley.
Wow, thank you for that warm ovation. First off, I want to thank God for dying for my sins and dying for all of your sins, especially you, Daniel Ann. Second, I want to thank my parents for always supporting me through the ups and downs, trials and tribulations. They were always there for me, asking me to go that extra mile. Third, I want to thank my friend Dylan for inspiring me to get that love of music that I still have to this day. Now, I want to say that it really is amazing standing here before you all today. No, as a kid, the only thing I ever wanted to do in life was simply to sell insurance. Whether it be home, life, auto, I just want to sell it all. But alas, the insurance game didn't work out for me, so I had to fall back on my love of music. Lastly, I want to say something to my adoring fans. Surround yourself with people that care about you. Don't surround yourself with people that'll bring you down, give you negative energy. Do something that you love, something that you enjoy, something that will make you proud in 30 years. After I climbed Mount Everest 3 times and won the NBA championship also 3 times, I didn't think there was anything else I could do. But I said, you know what, I think I might win the Grammy. So here I am today. And lastly, I want to close with, maybe, if you're lucky, just maybe, you might end up like me someday. Thank you.
The second award is the Kundal Prize for Historical Literature, and this award goes to Aaron Giesemann.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank Mrs. Stevens for hosting the event and McGill University for presenting this award to me. It is such an honor to be able to be here to accept this award. The Kundal Prize acknowledges historical writing in English annually. My book, Exploration of the North, sought to tell the stories of all the people in the Northern Territories, all their hardships and all their trials, all the good and all the bad. I hope that it encourages an informed debate in that area. The member of the jury, Margaret McKellen, of the 2016, said, "History, good, readable history is part of the toolbox of democracy. We live in an ever-changing world, and it is more important than ever to learn where we've been and where we might be going." Thank you very much.
The following students will be toasting someone in the audience at an event that they have chosen. Let's welcome our toast speakers.
Hear ye, hear ye. I'm here today to toast my brother and friend, Brixton Mains. Brixton has been there for me through thick and thin to show me sense and truth. He is just and loyal when others are not, and is one of the strongest and most athletic people I know. Brixton always asks me if I want to go outside or play basketball with him, and even when I fail, he encourages me and helps me learn to do better. When I am rude and hurt him, he always forgives me and lets me redeem myself. Me and my brothers have these foam swords that we fight with sometimes on the trampoline, and once Brixton and I were sword fighting. He overpowered me with strength. He had won fair and square, but I jumped back up and whacked him hard. He was mad for a while, but then he quickly forgave me, and we got back to it. So I thank you, Brixton, for being there for me, and keeping me sane, and forgiving me when I'm not. And after it all, thank you for being a great brother and a lifelong friend. And thank you all for listening to Brixton.
One day, I asked my dad for help on a math problem. He said, "Don't worry, it's a piece of cake." I said, "No, it's a math problem." If you don't know who I am, my name is Gabrielle Sonda, and I am here to toast my amazing father. So, he has always been there for me. He is the best dad ever. Not to start any arguments. Sorry for all of you kids out there, but he's the best. He's there whenever I need him and when I don't need him, even though he says if I need any help, he'll always help me. He has always been there for me, all the time. Even if I'm like miles and miles away, he's always there. He is such a sweet, kind, and caring father. He picks me back up whenever I need it, and he's always there when my mom isn't, which is okay. So, here's to my father, Albert Asando, and keep the beard. It's growing on you.
Attention, attention. If you would all direct your attention to me, or rather what I have to say. I would like to address the real and obvious reason why we are all here, to give a toast to Nathan Sanborn's graduation of middle school. The best way I could describe him as is funny, wise, and a good person. It might also help to say that he's my best friend. Although we have only been friends for 4 years, if you include kindergarten, but we don't talk about that, I think that it's safe to say that I know him, and if I had to guess someday, he might even win a Nobel Prize. Ever since he transferred into the academy mid-year, he has jumped right into making friends and working hard. So he is a quiet guy for sure, and his favorite quote is, "A wise man once said nothing." So let's raise a glass and toast to friendship, good laughs, and the man in the second row on your right, Nathan Sanborn, who might I add is probably a little embarrassed that I chose him for the toast today. Sorry, man. Cheers.
I would like to raise a toast to Abby Hudiker. She has changed the way I view life, and here at her high school graduation, I would like to show how she's done this. I've been in Abby's class since 6th grade, and ever since I met her, she has always had an outgoing and cheerful personality. She's always been able to just laugh it off when something bad happens. In 7th grade, I was talking to Abby, and without looking in front of her, she ran into a pole and actually got a really bad concussion. She couldn't play volleyball for a week, but instead of getting upset, she pushed through and stayed positive. As you all probably know, Abby has always been the life of the party. I will never forget in our junior year when we had a party. Abby was late, and before she came, we had no idea what to do. We just sat around for an hour doing nothing. We were all about to go home when Abby came. The energy immediately went up. Abby had a dance battle with herself for 2 hours straight, drank a dozen Capri Suns, and ironically ran into another pole and got an even worse concussion. Even though that night ended up in the emergency room, I will always remember it as one of the best nights of my life. Abby has taught me to live life to the fullest, and because of her, I have been able to experience more things in life and make a lot of memories. I will never forget her and the impact she has had on my life. So here's to Abby.
The following students will be presenting speeches by notable speakers of the past. Let's welcome our famous speech speakers.
This is the explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger address to the nation by President Ronald W. Reagan. Ladies and gentlemen, I plan to speak to you today to report on the State of the Union, but the events of earlier today have led me to change those plans. Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of this shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss. 19 years ago, almost to the day, we lost 3 astronauts in a terrible accident on the ground. But we've never lost an astronaut in flight. We've never had a tragedy like this. And perhaps we've forgotten the courage it took for the crew of the shuttle, but they, the Challenger 7, were aware of the dangers, but overcame them and did their jobs brilliantly. We mourn 7 heroes: Michael Smith, Dick Scobie, Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Gregory Jarvis, and Kristen McAuliffe. We mourn their loss and as a nation together. For the families of the 7, we cannot bear, as we do, the full impact of this tragedy. But we feel the loss, and we're thinking of you so very much. Your loved ones were daring and brave, and they have a special grace, that special spirit that says, "Give me a challenge, and I'll meet it with joy." They had hunger to explore the universe and discover its truth. They wished to serve, and they did. They served us all. We've grown used to wonders in this century. It's hard to dazzle us. But for 25 years, the United States Space Program has been doing just that. We've grown used to the idea of space, and perhaps we forgot that we've only just begun. We're still pioneers. They, the members of the Challenger crew, were pioneers. And I want to say something to the school children of America who are watching the live coverage of the shuttle's takeoff. I know it's hard to understand, but sometimes painful things like this happen. It's all part of the process of exploration and discovery. It's all part of taking a chance and expanding man's horizons. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave. The Challenger crew was pulling us into the future, and will continue to follow them. I've always had a great faith and respect for our space program, and what happened today does not diminish it. We don't hide our space program. We don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public. That's the way freedom is, and we wouldn't change it for a minute. We'll continue our quest in space. There will be more shuttle flights and more shuttle crews. And yes, more volunteers, more civilians, more teachers in space. Nothing ends here. Our hope and our journeys continue. I want to add that I wish I could talk to every man and every woman who worked for NASA or who worked on this mission and tell them, your dedication and professionalism have moved and impressed us for decades. And we know of your anguish. We share it. There's a coincidence today on this day 390 years ago, the great explorer, Sir Francis Drake, died aboard the ship off the coast of Panama. In his lifetime, the great frontiers were the oceans, and a historian later said, he lived by the sea, died on it, and was buried on it. Well, today we can say of the Challenger crew, their dedication was like Drake, complete. The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us by the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them, this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye, and slipped the surely bonds of earth to touch the face of God.
This is the Nobel speech by Malala Yousafzai. I am humbled that the Nobel Committee has selected me for this precious award. Thank you to everyone for your continued love and support. I am very proud to be the first Pashtun, the first Pakistani, and the very first young person to receive this award. I am happy that we are standing here together for an important cause. This award is not just for me. It is for those forgotten children who want education. It is for those frightened children who want peace. It is for those voiceless children who want change. I am here to stand up for their rights, raise their voice. It is not time to pity them. It is time to take action, so it becomes the last time that we see a child deprived of education. When I was 10, Swat, which was a place of beauty and tourism, suddenly changed into a place of terrorism. More than 400 schools were destroyed. Girls were stopped from going to school. Innocent people were killed. We all suffered. And our beautiful dreams turned into nightmares. Education went from being a right to being a crime. But when my world suddenly changed, my priorities changed too. I had two options. One was to remain silent and wait to be killed, and the second was to speak up and then be killed. I chose the second one. I decided to speak up. The terrorists tried to stop us and attacked me and my friends on October 9th, 2012, but their bullets could not win. We survived, and since that day our voices have only grown louder. In my own village, there is no secondary school for girls. I want to build one, so my friends can get an education and the opportunity it brings to fulfill their dreams. That is where I will begin, but it is not where I will stop. I will continue this fight until I see every child in school. I feel so much stronger after the attack I endured, because I know nobody can stop me, or stop us, because now we are millions standing up together. Dear brothers and sisters, great people who brought change, like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, and Aung San Suu Kyi. They once stood here on this stage. I hope the steps that Kalasha Tarti and I have taken so far, and will take on this journey, will also bring change, lasting change. My great hope is that this will be the last time we fight for the education of our children. We want everyone to unite to support us and our campaign so that we can solve this once and for all. Like I said, we have already taken many steps in the right direction. Now it is time to take a leap. It is not time to tell the leaders to realize how important education is. They already know. Their own children are in good schools. Now it is time to tell them to take action. We ask the world leaders to unite and make education their top priority. Leaders must seize this opportunity to guarantee a free, quality, and primary and secondary education for every child. Some will say this is impractical, or even too hard, or impossible. But it is time the world thinks bigger. Dear brothers and sisters, the so-called world of adults may understand it, but we children don't. Why is it that countries which we call strong are so powerful in creating wars, but so weak in bringing peace? Why is it that giving guns is so easy, but giving books is so hard? Why is it that making tanks is so easy, but building schools is so difficult? As we are living in the modern age, the 21st century, and we all believe that nothing is impossible, we can reach the moon and maybe soon land on Mars. Then, in this, the 21st century, we must be determined that our dream of quality education for all will also come true. So let us bring equality, justice, and peace for all. Not just the politicians and the world leaders. We all need to contribute. Me, you. It is our duty. Let this be the last time a boy or girl spends their childhood in a factory. Let this be the last time a girl gets forced into early marriage. Let this be the last time an innocent child loses their life in war. Let this be the last time that a classroom remains empty. Let this be the last time that a girl is told education is a crime, not a right. Let us begin this ending. Let this begin with us, and let us build a better future right here, right now. Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause for our speakers so far. Now we will have a 10-minute intermission, and I will turn the lights on and I'll turn them back off when that means that it's time to start again. So thank you. We are moving into the second half of the event. As I stated earlier, these next speeches are a bit more serious. The next group of speeches are eulogy speeches. The following students will be performing a eulogy speech they have written for their own funerals. This assignment was not meant to be morbid, but instead, the purpose of these speeches is for students to reflect back on their life, as well as look forward to the future and the things they hope to accomplish in their lives. And now, let's welcome our eulogy speakers.
Logan Leslie came up from humble beginnings, growing up in a small house in Edmond, Oklahoma. But he did not let that stop him from becoming one of the most iconic figures in NBA history. At a young age, he wasn't really much into the sport of basketball, so much as he just played it because his friends did. But at the age of 12, he really grew to love the sport. Now, most kids' dream is for them to become one of the greatest players in NBA history. But Logan had a different idea. He wanted to become the greatest coach. And he did so, earning 16 championships with 4 different teams. 2 years after his retirement, he became a commentator for ESPN and did that for 12 years, also being inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame as a head coach during that time. Sorry, his death is just so sad. After his retirement as a commentator, 6 years later, he died, saving the life of our beloved president. This is a sad time for me. But his favorite quote was, "The two greatest warriors are patience and time," by Leo Tolstoy. He told this to all of his players before each game, encouraging them to not rush through the game or through their lives, but to take it one step at a time. And it is this philosophy that made him not just a great coach, but a great man. And in this broken world, we need more great men like Logan Leslie. Thank you.
Most of you knew Joy as her friends or her family. If you don't know her, why are you here? And I'm pretty sure there's a few, but that's besides the point. We all have memories of her, and for my part, there were some happy and sad ones, and there were definitely some interesting ones, to say the least. There was this one time at my work, the HWSS, when she brought in this huge group of people, all of them who had backstories, and they needed a lot of help. If she hadn't have brought them in, they wouldn't have had the lives that they had, and they wouldn't have got the help that they needed. She told me once that all she wanted to do was help people, and that's what she wanted to do with her life. Sometimes she didn't do that. Sometimes she got angry. Sometimes she messed stuff up by big time. But that never stopped her. She always kept fighting. She always hoped to keep fighting. There's this one quote that she told me by William James. Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. Oh, and she also told me in 8th grade that her ghost is haunting all of you.
We are gathered here today to celebrate the life of Abby Fedeker. She lived a full, happy life. She lived out her dreams, but also did things she never imagined doing. Ever since she was 9, she had to deal with her dad that if she got a full scholarship to college, he would get her a yellow Jeep. She started playing volleyball and actually was pretty good. She decided that she wanted a full volleyball scholarship to Stanford University. She worked hard and her dream came true. Although she loved volleyball, she loved being around people more. She was always surrounded by friends and family. Her loving husband brought out the best in her. Together they went on crazy adventures, opened up a coffee shop, and had 2 kids. I remember Abby as an energetic, passionate, and clumsy young lady who couldn't cook. She was so bad at cooking that she eventually started liking her frozen pizzas burnt. She always knew how to put a smile on your face. Most of the time it was because she would laugh so loud and hard that you couldn't help but laugh with her. Or it was because she ran into something, which she did on a daily basis. I would like to end with a quote from one of Abby's favorite TV shows, Gilmore Girls. Everything in my life has something to do with coffee. I believe in a former life I was coffee. Lorelai Gilmore. I hope she is enjoying a cup of coffee in a better place. Thank you.
The following students will be presenting a speech about the virtues they believe they possess and a virtue that they don't feel they have but wish to grow in. Let's welcome our virtue speakers.
Hello, my name is Kirsten Andrews, and I am here to talk about some virtues that I have and one that I need to work on. I've been told that I have the virtue of courage. An example of when I had this was when I had to take a huge test for one of my classes. I started getting really stressed and anxious, but I pulled through, and I ended up getting an A. The second virtue I've been told that I have is justice. One time I was rude to a friend, but I immediately turned around and apologized to her. The last virtue I'll be sharing with you is truthfulness. One time I was doing a play, and one of my friend's hair got messed up. I told her that it was messed up, and I fixed it before she had to go on stage. A virtue that I need to work on is pride. This meaning of pride is simply self-satisfaction. An example of when I didn't have this was when I was doing some really hard math homework that took me hours. Because it took me so long, and because I didn't understand it, I decided that I was horrible at math and at all school. 1 John 3:1 says, "See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called the children of God." And so we are. God calls us his children. He calls me his daughter, and he loves me. I spend too much of my time critiquing myself and paying attention to little things that I do wrong. I tend to bring my own self-esteem down by telling myself that I'm not good enough, and most of the time just because of one small thing. I hold myself to a standard that, in reality, is impossible, and no one will be able to achieve that standard. I need pride so that I can remind myself that I am good enough, and that I am strong enough. In truth, no one is perfect, and I need to realize that. In the future, I hope that I will have pride so that I can become a stronger and more confident person. I claim the virtue of pride, and I will continue to work on gaining this virtue and fulfilling the virtues that I already have. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Thomas Kaler, and as a growing man, I've been trying to learn more and more about myself, and one of these things is learning about my virtues. The first virtue I have is truthfulness. In debate class, when you're going against your opponent, they get to ask you questions. This is called cross-examination. And during cross-examination, when I'm being asked questions, I try to answer the questions to the best of my ability in the most honest way possible. So truthfulness is how I demonstrate this. My second virtue is courage. And growing up in a small Christian school, you don't get to necessarily pick your friends. And sometimes those friends don't make the best decisions. So I've used courage to tell them when they're doing something wrong. My third and final virtue is justice. Back in 5th grade, we had an experiment where we would discriminate against part of the class. And when I see someone being discriminated against or treated unfairly, this really hurts me. So I use justice to treat my fellow peers to the best of my ability. One of the virtues I need is temperance or self-control. In omnibus class, I usually answer the questions most of the time, about 75% of the time, and I feel like I take away the questions from my fellow peers. I can use self-control and let other people talk more than myself. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 9:27, "But I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified." I look to the future and see a man that is a self-controlled man, a man that controls his tongue and his body. I know I can be a man of self-control, and I claim the virtue of temperance. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ellison Spearman. Today I'm going to talk about 3 virtues I just. A virtue I have is truthfulness. Truthfulness is being honest. I'm always honest with my friends. For example, when they ask if they should buy something, but it doesn't look good, I don't sugarcoat it and say yes. I just flat out say no. I want to be truthful to them so they don't get embarrassed, and I always want my friends to look their best. The second virtue I display is courage, which is trying new things and having a brave face on, no matter what the circumstance is. An example on how I show courage is I love doing adventurous things, like driving a four-wheeler into the middle of the woods at the lake, or standing up for someone, or jumping up the high dive into freezing water at camp. The third virtue I display is wit, which is pretty much just having a sense of humor. I have a very bubbly and crazy sense of humor. I'm always making my friends laugh in class. A virtue I don't display is temperance, which is having a good temper at all times. I like the idea of this virtue because my life would be so much calmer if I had it. Psalm 17:3 says, "You have tried my heart. You have visited me by night. You have tested me, and you will find nothing. I have a purpose that my mouth will not transgress." I don't show temperance because I get mad at the smallest things and dumbest things. For example, I flipped out when my sister took my hair tie, when I could have just looked for another one. I know I don't have temperance, but I can try my best in the future and improve. I hope to improve in all my virtues for the better. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, my name is Charlie Peterson, and I'll be talking about some virtues I have and one that I don't. So I'm an extrovert. I like being around people. People fuel my energy, and being around people helps me cope with my problems. So all my virtues kind of revolve around this. My first one is friendliness. People are always coming and going in your life and then coming back. So when people come back, you need to be able to talk to them. 2 is liberality, which means generosity with not only your things in your life, but with your time. Sometimes all that someone needs is for you to talk to them and listen to you. My third one is wit. So sometimes you see some absurdity in your life. Sometimes having an absurd person around you makes your life better. And then the virtue I don't display is patience. 2 Peter 3:9 says, "The Lord isn't slow to fulfill his promise, as some count slowness, but is patient with you, towards you, and not wishing that any should perish, but should reach repentance." Because he's patient with you, I want to be patient with others and look for the best in them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sophie Sloan, and I'm here to tell you about 3 virtues that I have and 1 that I don't have. Virtue stands for the different character traits or qualities of a person. Many people have told me that I have the virtues of liberality, friendship, and friendliness. Friendship to me means always being there for a friend, no matter what. Liberality means being kind and generous to someone. Friendliness means being kind to someone who needs help or just being kind in general. The virtue of friendship was shown when I helped my friend at church during a basketball game. During the game, I cheered her on so that she would have the courage to play the best she can. She not only played really well, but she won the game too. The next virtue that was given to me was liberality. I showed liberality when I decided to spend some weekends helping my grandma around her house while she was healing from a shattered kneecap. I had tried to do some cleaning around the house, and I even helped her cook. The last virtue that was given to me was friendliness. There was a time when a person came up to me asking for help with her necklace. She had expressed to me how important the necklace was to her, but she couldn't fix it. She was really upset, so I did my best to fix her necklace because I knew that I had skill with jewelry. I ended up fixing the necklace, and she was really happy and grateful. Everyone has a virtue that they wish they had, and for me, that virtue is courage. Courage means that you are not afraid to face danger. I would like to have courage because I believe it is a trait that many admire, even me. Also, I think it would really help me grow to be a better person and friend. Courage to me is a rare trait and allows people to stand out because it seems like courage helps you live life to the fullest. If I had this trait, it would make me walk with confidence and I wouldn't fear stepping out of my comfort zone to stand up for others and myself. There's a time in my life that I wish I had courage as a trait. I used to take ballet and we would have ballet performances. At the time I was young and I really wanted to perform, but I always had stage fright before the show. I was just so scared about going on because I didn't want to mess up and ruin the whole show. I was running so much that I almost missed my cue, but my stage friends helped me muster up my courage so I would be able to go up on stage. After that, I was able to go up on stage without trouble because I knew my friends would be there for me. If I had had that virtue in the beginning, I wouldn't have been so scared to go up and perform in front of everybody. If I was so focused on messing up and had the courage I needed, then I believe that I would have danced a little better that day. If courage was a trait I'd have in the future, I believe it would help have the confidence I want as a young lady, and it would help me achieve my goals for my life. I believe that through this verse, I can speak life into having courage in my life. Joshua 1:9 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Today, I claim the virtue of courage. Thank you.
Good morning, Vietnam. My name is Drew David. Now, most people say I'm a pretty straightforward person. I always get to the point, and then I'm very direct. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've asked 3 people to give me virtues that they each think I have. These 3 virtues are wit, courage, and truthfulness. An example of my first virtue, wit, is one time I was in the car with my mom. I said a really funny and stupid joke. It made her laugh so hard that we almost crashed and died. It was really funny, but also kind of creepy. A second virtue that I show, and an example for it, is this year. I was in the Outsiders play. Now, I'm really bad at memorizing things, and I'm really bad at public speaking. But when I was told I was going to have one of the biggest parts in the play, I was really scared. I eventually toughed it out, and I showed a lot of courage and bravery that day, and I'm really proud of myself. My third virtue is truthfulness. Now, truthfulness can mean a lot of things. It can mean that you're a really truthful person, or it can mean, like I said earlier, you're very straight and direct, and you always get to the point. I don't have a specific example for this, but my parents and other people always tell me all the time, I don't never beat around the bush, and I'm always just very straightforward. Now, just like everyone else, I know you won't believe this, but I am not a perfect person. I have a lot of virtues I don't have. One of these virtues is temperance. You see, temperance also means self-control. Now, I've never had a lot of self-control. I always get mad at things really easily, and it's really hard for me. An example of this was during last summer, I got into a fight with my dad. This fight led on to another fight, which led on to another fight, and led on to another fight. These fights happened all summer. It completely ruined my summer and my relationship with my dad. I feel like if I had shown more self-control that summer, I would have had a better relationship with my dad and enjoyed my summer a lot more. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." I believe
This means that the things you say have the power to influence things for good and bad. You should always use what you say and what you do for good, never for bad. I feel like I should have used my words for good instead of bad last summer. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathan Sanborn. I believe one of the biggest parts of a person's character is their virtues. As for my own, I would say I have wit. I always enjoy making people laugh and have a good time, even though it's a little hard to see people smile. I remember once when I had a friend over, I made him laugh so hard, he almost suffocated. And then, I've also been blessed with wisdom. I know that most of the time, I'll think before I speak, with the occasional exception, of course. This is also where my favorite quote comes from. A wise man once said nothing. I know that I also have honor. I always will keep myself to a high standard and will try to be the best that I can. I know every time there's a test, I'll overstudy and try and get 110%. This unfortunately leaves me with the fear of failure, which leads me to the virtue on my hand, courage. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't dare go near a roller coaster because of fear, but I called it wisdom. I mean, have you seen how high those things go? I was the kid that had a small group of friends and didn't really like reaching out or talking that much. An example of this is when I started my old school. I didn't really talk much or try and make any friends. Later in the year, I started talking more, made some friends, and realized it wasn't too bad. It would be great to be courageous, to overcome my fears with ease, and not worry about about failing or being judged. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Be strong and good of courage. Do not fear nor be afraid of them, for the Lord your God, he goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. The Lord my God is with me, and he will not leave me. What do I have to fear?" This is why I can and I do claim the virtue of courage. Nay, maybe one day I'll ride the biggest roller coaster of Six Flags and get over my stage fright. This is a part of who I am and the great courageous person I will be. Thank you.
My name is Nicola Robinson, and for my speech tonight, I will tell you 3 virtues that my friends and family have told me I possess, and 1 virtue I think I need to grow in. My first virtue is courage. I have been a figure skater for 3 years. The first time I competed, I was given last place. Naturally, I was upset, but I decided to be courageous. I put in more effort and trained harder, and the next time I competed, I was given first place. I did not let the fear of losing again stop me from doing what I love. My second virtue is friendship. Jasmine Small is one of my very best friends. We know each other very well because we have spent a lot of time together. This year I decided to throw her a surprise birthday party. Planning a birthday party takes a lot of time and effort, from making a cake to inviting people and keeping it a secret. But because I wanted Jasmine to know how important she is to me, I was willing to put in all the time, effort, and energy. My third and final virtue is liberality. 2 years ago, when my sister Natalie, who would have been in pre-K, and I were new to the academy, I would often walk her to her classroom when she was feeling uncomfortable or having a rough morning. And since she was little, I did not let her feel like a burden or an inconvenience. I tried to make it something special for us, a time when we got to be together. The virtue I need to grow in is truthfulness, meaning I need to be more straightforward with others. This year, I took the Enneagram test and learned that I am a type 9, the peacemaker, so I tried to avoid conflict. And to do this, I had my true feelings about certain things. So when people try to help me with my problems, I try to act like I don't have a problem so that I don't make them mad or be a burden to them. And this has sometimes led to issues that we had to work out. So looking into the future, as I go into high school, I plan to be more honest and direct with others, and that I ask that each and every one of you help me tonight reach my goal, claiming the virtue truthfulness. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Sydney Kitchen, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of virtues I possess and one that I need to work on. Many people have told me that I have many virtues that have shown throughout my life. Many people have told me that magnificence defines my personality. People are naturally comfortable around me because I have a presence that draws people in. An example of a way that I have shown magnificence throughout my life is whenever I met one of my new friends. She was super shy and uncomfortable around me, until my joy spilled over, and now we're really close. The second virtue people have said has shown throughout my life is liberality. I'm always a peacemaker, and I never want people mad. No matter what the circumstance, I always want to be the kind one. When my brother and I are fighting over something, I always give in, because I never want him or anybody else around to be mad. The last and final virtue people have said has shown throughout my life is courage. From the day I was born, my parents have told me that I'm strong and courageous. No matter what the circumstance, I always live life to the fullest and I try and make things more exciting. One day, my family was at the lake and we were all about to jump off a cliff. Everybody chickened out, but I went straight for it, and even though it was scary, I jumped right off the cliff. Even on the soccer field, no matter what the circumstance, I'm constantly fighting. I'm never afraid to get hurt or even miss a shot. Although everybody has many different virtues, nobody's perfect. Just like everybody else, I have a couple virtues that I need to work on, and one of them is pride. In the past couple of months, I've realized that I have a couple of times that I need to work on pride. During games or practices, I've been putting myself down because I never think that I'm good enough. Yes, I have a positive attitude, but whenever it comes to soccer, I get a little competitive, and I've recently realized that it puts others down around me as well. Psalm 139:14 says, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well." I think if I had pride, life would be a lot more exciting, and I can maybe even inspire others to have a happier attitude. I can maybe even be a better student and even a better athlete. Among other things, my personality is defined by magnificence, liberality, and courage, which are amazing traits that God has given me to spread the word. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine Small and I am here to share some virtues with you. The virtues that I have are liberality, friendship, and prudence. To me, liberality means being generous with everything you have. Friendship is sticking with a person through thick and thin. Prudence is having the wisdom to act correctly in any circumstance. The story that I have for liberality is recently when Sophie joined the school. She struggled adjusting to things like the homework load and making new friends, and I tried to be generous with my time to help her through that. The story that I have for friendship is when a girl named Camden used to be at the school. She had a group of friends and they were kind of known as crazy people, and most people disliked them, but I tried to get to know them more as individuals and be friendly to them anyways. The story that I have for prudence is when my mom got really sick when I was little. I had to stay calm and call my dad, that way he could come and take her to the hospital, and then keep an eye on her and keep my siblings calm until he could come. However, there are virtues that I certainly don't possess, and one of them is magnificence. When I say magnificence, I mean having a sense of constant joy. My Enneagram number is a 2, and that means I seek to help people. So my goal as a person is to reach out to people and pull them into me and discover what their problems are to help them work through that and fix it. Which in itself, that's a great thing, but I tend to take on too many people at once and it just starts to deteriorate me from the inside. Recently, I've been doing that a lot at school, trying to reach out to new people, but I come home to people like my parents and my siblings or cousins or closer friends, and I start to deteriorate around them, which isn't fair to them because I'm the one who brought so many people on myself in the first place. This is particularly important to me as I'm going into high school next year. I want to be someone who tackles everything in high school with not just a smile on my face, but one in my heart as well. That is why I'm going to take the first step. Today, I claim magnificence. Thank you everyone for coming to hear me, and I ask that you team up with me in accomplishing my new goal. Help me strive towards magnificence.
My name is Victoria Moon. My first virtue is magnificence. Magnificence is a sense of joyousness. I've been told that anytime I'm in a room or I'm talking to a friend or saying a speech like tonight, I always have a sense of joyousness. My second virtue is courage. When I was young, my friends always had the courage to stand up to a teacher, but never to their bullies. I built up the courage to stand up against those bullies for them, and I told them, if you have the courage to stand up against your teacher, then you have the courage to stand up against your bullies. My third virtue is justice. I never liked when people were unequal. They always complained about not having a fair share. As everyone else, I have a virtue that I need to work on, and mine is temperance. Temperance is self-control or restraint. When my brother and I wrestle, I never hold back, and it leads to me hurting myself or me hurting my brother. What also makes it hard to learn this virtue is my temper. I never have a good temper. I get mad easily or I get upset. 2 Peter 1:5-6 says, "For this very reason make every effort to supplement your faith with virtue, and virtue with knowledge, and knowledge with temperance, and temperance with godliness." Tonight I claim temperance. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cora Shutt. I have been complimented on many virtues over my life, and here are a few that really stand out. The first virtue I have is friendliness. What friendliness means to me is that you are comfortable and able to talk to people even if you don't know them. An example from my life when I had this virtue was when I went to a youth group dinner. Right before the dinner, my dad told me to talk to this new girl who was coming. I told him I would, and when I got there, it was like meeting myself. We discovered that we were like the same person, and to this day, we are like best friends. I never knew that just introducing myself to someone new would change my life. The second virtue that I possess is wit. I think that wit means that you are able to make people laugh when they need a good laugh, or you're able to make them smile when they are feeling down. All of my friends have told me a lot that I am very good at making things funny or making them laugh. And most of you probably know that I can get pretty delusional sometimes, and it's not the greatest. The last virtue that I have is a good temper. Having this means that you are able to just go with the flow and not really have anything against it. I've been told after basketball games that I don't talk back to refs or shove others. Out of all the times I've been cussed out or shoved, I really don't do anything back. I just go with the flow. Even though I've been complimented on a lot of virtues, there is still some room where I could grow in. For example, a few years ago, I was talking back to my parents, and because of this, I lost my phone. If I had had temperance in that situation, it could have gone better. Temperance is like having self-control. I know that I can grow in this virtue, and if I do, it will help me a lot in the future. When I am trying to improve this virtue, I look to the verse from 2 Timothy 1:7, which says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." I think that in this verse, God is telling us that we should have self-control no matter what circumstances. I could definitely work on temperance, especially around my family. Everyone possesses unique and different virtues, but we all have room to improve on them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joshua Milligan, and I will be exploring 3 virtues I have and 1 virtue I can claim. Now, a lot of people have told me that I am truthful, and maybe sometimes a little too truthful, but when my best friend was following the wrong crowd and hanging out with people that will negatively influence him, I warned him and told him he will end up in a bad situation if he keeps on following them. Another virtue I have is friendliness. I'm always high-fiving people in the hallways and doing hand games with them to try and lighten the mood. If someone's feeling down, I'll hug them to try and make things seem a little better. One last virtue I hold is liberality. I'm always lending people pencils even if I know, I'm certain they'll never be returned. I give what I have, especially when it comes to food. One Valentine's Day, I baked an entire cake for our class, which took me an afternoon to make. With all these virtues, I still lack some, like courage. Often, I'm not brave enough to be different. Sometimes, I follow the crowd and do things that the world wants me to do. An example of me following the crowd was when I was telling inappropriate jokes with my friends throughout the 8th grade school year. We had to have a talk with Mr. Schulte on how we can improve the community and not hurt it. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-control." With this, I would like to have courage because it would give me enough strength to where I don't feel like I have to act a certain way. I have hope for a better me so that I won't be conformed by this world. I can see in a not so distant future a courageous man, free from the bondages of this world, free from what the world tells him to do, and free from the urge to follow and not lead. We all have our imperfections, but it's our will to improve that makes us truly Christian. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Avery Metcalf, and I'm going to be talking about some virtues I have and a virtue I wish to claim. A virtue I have is justice, because I really hate when people I love are mistreated. An example of when I showed this was when one time my little brother came up to me and told me one of my other brothers was being bullied. Immediately, I stood up and told him to take me to where they were. He led me to an open field near our house where there were a bunch of boys playing football. I sat outside for over an hour and watched 10-year-old boys play football just to make sure he wouldn't say anything else to my brother. Another virtue I have is liberality. My dad told me my biggest moment of liberality was when I was on a mission trip in Uganda, and there was a really sick girl outside of our clinic. She had been seizing in the dirt and had really bad malaria. She was really frightened because her mom had left her that day. I just held her for a while, and eventually she started to calm down. I was covered in her dirt and her mess, but I didn't care. I was just happy that she was starting to feel safe and starting to feel better. Another virtue I have is truthfulness, because I'm very straightforward. Even if I tried to hide my feelings, I can't. I can criticize myself for many things, but I'm definitely not fake. Out of all of these, picking the virtue I don't have was definitely the easiest. I do not have the virtue of pride. My Enneagram type is a 3, which means I hold myself to very high standards and always push myself to perform to the best of my ability. I often doubt how things will go, or what grades I'll make, or how good I will do in a game. I push and I push and I push myself, and I tire myself out. I also compare myself to others, which make my standards even higher. I am my own worst enemy. I am going to start doing things that bring me joy, instead of constantly making myself miserable. I'm going to start taking time to lay back and take breaks so I can become happier. I'm going to stop burning myself out and stop comparing myself to others so I can become better at everything I do. I claim the virtue of pride. Hebrews 13:6 says, "So that we can say with confidence, 'The Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me?'" I know some virtues come easier to people while others take work. I believe with lots of work, I can claim the virtue of pride and become the best version of myself. Thank you.
The 8th graders want to take a moment to thank specific members of our staff here at the Academy. The students took the initiative to do this. I did not tell them to do this, and they wrote these thank yous themselves, which I love. So welcome Victoria, Jack, Cora, and Ethan.
Thank you all for coming to our last performance at the North Campus. Before we end, I would like to thank the following. Mr. Young is the 7th and 8th grade omnibus and practicum teacher. He is a really good teacher, even though he says differently. Mr. Young is funny, kind, and a good listener. He is like our anger management teacher. Anytime our class is mad or annoyed, he talks us through it. He makes class fun and he is straightforward with us. He doesn't answer our questions, but makes us find our answers ourselves. He engages with us, and that is what makes him a good teacher. We have no idea what we would do without him as our teacher.
Mrs. Bradford is our Latin teacher, and she is one of the best I know. She's the only one I know, but she is still the best. She is free-spirited, kind, funny, charitable, and nice, and has a great energy about her. But one of the most important things is that she is a good woman, mom, and wife, and an amazing teacher. She likes to tell us stories about her kids and Mr. Bradford, and she does love her kids. We all love Mrs. Bradford, and we'll miss her a whole lot when we go to the high school.
The next person we would like to thank is Mr. Bradford. Mr. Bradford is our Bible teacher for the 8th grade, but also a pastor at his church. We are blessed to have him as our teacher. Mr. Bradford is kind, fun, non-judgmental, good-spirited, responsible, and relaxed. One thing that he is a good dad and husband. Mr. Bradford is so generous with his time and is always mailing us letters. Just like his wife, he tells us stories about his kids and how much he loves them.
Mr. Schulte is a Bible teacher for the 6th and 7th grade. He is kind, funny, a good storyteller. He's genuine, hardworking, and responsible. He is a good husband and father, but we can't forget that beard that he's rocking.
Miss Atwood was the 5th and 7th grade teacher for some of us. This year she is the 7th grade teacher for Omnibus and Practicum. She is nice, energetic, very engaging, makes class time fun, and is a very exciting person. She is very organized, and we can't forget the epic parties she throws.
Mr. Rouse is the 7th grade and 8th grade Practicum and Omnibus teacher. He has a love for Omnibus and has a burning passion for his annotations. But he is also hardworking, caring, has a good temper, and knowledgeable.
Next, we would like to thank Mr. Dyer. We also, for 2 years, he has been with us, and hopefully more, for all his hard work that he has done for this school. If you don't know Mr. Dial, he is our janitor. He has stayed the past five cleaning after everyone. He is hardworking, has a strong will, is funny and nice. He works so long in a week to keep this school in order. If it comes down to a clogged toilet or having to clean the gym again, he would do it. So thank you, Mr. Dial, for your service.
Ms. Kahn is a 6th grade Omnibus and Practicum teacher, and she was also my pre-K teacher. She is nice, kind, funny, has a good energy, organized, responsible, caring, and most of all, a good wife and mother. I would not be the same person as I am without Ms. Kahn.
Mrs. Blackford is a dialectic science teacher. She is nice, funny, generous, and wonderful at what she does. She has the patience even when it's not easy to teach and handle as teenagers, like all other dialectic teachers. Thank you.
Mr. Blankenship is the 8th grade math teacher. He is nice and a very funny person. But when it comes to being hilarious or sarcastic, he somehow combines them. He also likes to, he is so funny and sarcastic combined that I just don't even get it. He also has an amazing talent at singing the Patience song, and we all hope his ankle gets better.
Next, we would like to thank Miss Allie Arnold. She is the 6th and 7th math teacher here at the North Campus. She is one of the best math teachers I've ever had. Miss Arnold is patient, funny, kind-hearted, nice, helpful, responsible, and a good teacher.
Miss Monica Arnold is kind, funny, hardworking, and responsible. She is an aide for the principal and was my pre-K aide. She has also been doing the mics, lights, and settings for 6 years. Thank you for your hard work and devotion to the school. And can Miss Monica Arnold come up to the stage for us to give her flowers?
But not least, Miss Stevens. Miss Stevens is the drama and oral press teacher. She did an amazing job on juggling 2 different subjects while also staying on to her lesson plan. Sure, there were some bumps in the road for her, but she still pulled through. Miss Stevens is nice, funny, hardworking, encouraging, and has a good energy about her. We all started nervous in her class, but she brought us all the way to this night. And look at us now. We are more confident in ourselves and speaking due to her teaching. Miss Stevens is a wonderful teacher, and I can't wait to work for her again. Thank you.
And can I have all of my 8th graders come to the stage? Spread out a little bit. You're in a clump. Stop clumping. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Good. So, I wrote final thing for our evening. This is a blessing that I would like to bestow on all of you. If you feel comfortable, you can hold your hands out as a sign that you're receiving the blessing. 8th graders, I pray that you would look back on your time here in the Dialectic School with fondness and gratitude. I pray that you would truly see how much you have grown these past few years. I pray that you would remember all of the memories and friends you have made here, that you would retain all of the information you have learned thus far. I pray that you would know how much your teachers love you. As you finish these last 5 weeks of school, I pray that you would finish strong and do your best work. I pray that you would leave a positive legacy on this school. And as you enter the rhetoric school or high school, I pray that you enter with an open heart, an open mind, and an eagerness to continue to learn. I pray that you would bond closer with one another, and that you would also bond with your future fellow 9th graders. I pray that you grow in grace, peace, wisdom, self-control, humility, kindness, and love. I pray that God would bless you in your next adventure, and that you would give him all the glory, honor, and praise. Amen. You guys did such an amazing job tonight. Let's give them another round of applause. And thank you so much for coming and being such a great audience for them. And we are finished. Thank you so much.